I'm ready.
Hi, Dave.
Hey,
It's been a
how you doing?
while.
It has. It has.
It's good to
I,
be
w- I was.
back.
It's
We
really good
decided
to
to
be back.
jump. We decided to jump back into this space we've called. What have we called it? Annika and Dave record whatever Dave wants to talk about. That's
That's
what we
it.
call it.
That's the name. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but truly, it's been
No,
really good to be back. And I've been busy. You've been busy. We took a little pause. But what you been up to? Tell the
um.
throngs of people.
Yeah. Well, there was some travel in there. We went and saw our daughter Erica. Drove there. We're very COVID safe. All that kind of stuff. But actually, we're very close to the book being done. Gasping for breath, and I'm really I'm one of these days we'll spend an episode here talking about the book, and there really is there's the book and what's in it, and I think it's really well done. I think I'm actually going to be proud of it,
Cool.
and I don't always feel like that when I'm writing. I'm going, oh, this is crap. I just said crap, sorry.
Okay.
But there's been a real collaboration around this with the editor that we found, and there's some stories to tell that I think I'm just grateful that people have come together to make the story that we're trying to tell in the book better than it could ever be if some one person as amazing as I am, um, so much better and deeper, more accessible than if it was just me writing this stuff about. And the gasping for breath thing it started with a friend of mine who tapped into my IPF, the lung thing I have. And if it was about IPF or physically gasping for breath, it would not be interesting to me. It really is about the variety of ways that we're all gasping for breath. We can't breathe emotionally, spiritually. We come up, get me out of here kind of stuff. When I hit the wall 27 years ago, that's one of the things that informs the metaphor of gasping for breath, because I almost left the ministry. I was not living in a way that had any kind of rhythm to stay in it for the long haul, and you need to learn how to breathe in different ways. And so it's created. It's a package that's gonna, I think, be helpful. First of all, my big thing has always been pastors, but with John Dulsacker, who's writing it with me, he just goes, Dave, this is for leaders. This is for maybe everybody, but parents, because we all find ourselves at certain times in COVID. Holy moly, we're not trying to tap into the gasping for breath there. Well, that's about breath, but it's put us in a place where beyond the physical breathlessness is this in gasping for breath. Like I can't handle this life. And so
well, I can't wait for it to come out.
And
you've let me read little snippets of it along the way, which have been really fun and really enjoyable. So I can't wait to see it all put together. And
we're at a phase where I really enjoyed the writing phase. I mean, it was hard and crazy making at times, but when the book was done, we're in this phase now of getting it published, and some wonderful things are happening there. But holy moly, that's just not my wheelhouse. And so again, grateful for help and stuff.
Yeah, you
anyway,
have some great people in your life.
Yep, including you. And now on to this. But that's at least part of why we've kind of been off. There just hasn't been space. So I'm really glad to get back to this, because I wanted to talk about some stuff, and maybe we don't want to get into it now, but maybe over the next couple sessions we'll talk about what we're hoping some of these things turn into and become. But I thought a great place to start would be Advent.
So we left off in the Beatitudes, and we were even talking about how that final Beatitude is about longing, and really that moves us right into Advent. So we're actually just going to skip right over the last Beatitude, because here we are in Advent, and it's good to pause from whatever.
Go
ahead.
Well, I was just going to say thanks for bringing that up, that we didn't finish the Beatitudes, because no one would have noticed if you hadn't said that. They missed the last Beatitude. So that was great. Now they know.
Now they know that we decided to skip over it.
Blew it off. Yeah, bad Beatitude.
But here we are in Advent, and we're going to talk about Mary. And you have 4 things that you're going to talk about as it relates to Mary and the cost for her. But let's talk a little bit about the church calendar and what Advent really is. And hit it.
Well, even choosing to do this, it's been fun to reflect on my journey with the whole idea of the church calendar, and really as a church getting into Advent, doing 4 very intentional weeks around Advent, and then Lent as well. And it's relatively new. I don't know, 10 years maybe. I mean, if you're fairly new to Open Door, you wouldn't know that there was a time when I was kind of like, Advent, Schmadvent. I just had no interest in it. I grew up in a church, good church, but there was no, the church calendar, liturgical things like that were foreign to us, sometimes scary, very Catholic, and you know about them. Anyway, so no interest and so it was a process and quite an education. And when the lights came on for what these calendar and these seasons, these rhythms of Advent, not just Christmas Sunday where we go, boo, boo, it's wonderful, but inviting our people into a journey together, like Sunday after Sunday. And I don't know if everybody's on it, but I was at church Sunday with Dave Brickey preaching in the first Sunday of Advent, or no, I think it was the second Sunday of Advent. And you can just feel it. We're all in this thing together, but the invitation is into the story. And what I love about that is that there are so many parts of the story that we think we can't relate to. Like I have nothing in common with a first century 13-year-old girl named Mary, nothing. Right? But when you get into the story and you really, really hear the story, we know her, and her yes to God is, wow, that's like mine. And the cost of it was like yours and like mine. And that's where it just starts to get interesting. One thing I'd say too, that I love about this, and it's always in my mind as a teacher, preacher, and is my favorite Advent. I've always loved to find texts at Christmas or Easter that, why is he going to Revelation? I mean, I thought it was Easter, or like Romans 8, for instance. Paul is kind of explaining the darkness of the day he's living in to the people. He's going, okay, what explains this stuff we're in? And if we took time right now, we could go for a long time on the darkness that all of us feel about our culture and the world, and what in the world's going on, things that are dark. But his interpretation is that these are birth pangs. And I remember reading that verse and going, okay, whatever, that sounds painful, but it's very significant, and it's an Advent verse. I'll tell you why. Because if you're in birth pangs, it hurts. And if you're in birth pangs, and you know this, women know this, we've had children, you think you're going to die. So what explains the pain I'm in, the terror I feel, oh my goodness, what explains that? Something is going to die. Something is about, that's fine. This is a death watch. Paul goes, this darkness is not a death watch. Something is not about to die. Something is about to be born. Whole different, whoa. Now it puts a whole different perspective on the pain and the waiting, because both Lent and Advent are about waiting. We're invited to wait for the birth, but you're waiting for something to be born. That's a different waiting than waiting at Lent for something to die and then be raised again. It's a different experience. And anyway, just invite into all of that, this whole thing. But let me start on the Mary stuff by starting in a very personal place. 47 years ago, it'll be 48 in March, Bonnie and I did what you do when you're young and in love and really stupid. Um, and we were entirely fearless too. We said yes. We said, I do, I will. And you know, you go back to that first day of I will, I do. It feels really good to say yes. Just yes to you. And I feel a yes from you. When your heart is open and tender and eager to say yes. When you're in that place, it's easy to say yes. And it feels really good. But like anybody who's listening to this, especially anybody who's ever been married, and I'm sure there's other ways to apply this, we had no idea. 21 years old, I'm saying, I do, I will, forever. No idea what we were saying yes to, what all of that would mean, particularly what it might cost, where it would lead us, where it would bring us. And all of that, 47 years later, raises another question. And I'm going to apply this to Mary in a minute. But it's a little dicey question. And it would be, okay, 48 years later, if you knew then what you know now, the cost of saying yes to another human being, before we even get to the God thing, if you knew that then what you know now, would you say yes? Again, would you still say yes? Because the fact is, we had no idea what we were saying yes to when we said yes. So Mary, Mother of Jesus, Mary, did you know? I love that song. But did you know what it would cost you? You know, we read it in the Bible, and it's this, you know, wonderfully distant. She had an angel, whatever. I don't cut through all that. Mary, did you know what it would cost you when you said yes to that angel's invitation to receive the life of God in you, allowing it to grow in you? And what she said was, be it done unto me. Just as you said, be it done means you can't control this life. All you can do is receive this life. I will let it be. And but the question now I want to pose to Mary would be, Mary, if you knew then what you know now about the cost of saying yes that first Christmas, would you still say yes? Because the fact is this, again, she had no idea what she was saying yes to. She had no idea what it would mean. She had no idea where it would lead her, what it would cost her, any more than you do or I do. When we say yes to God, in fact, where I would go, particularly when you said yes the first time. Can you do that, Annika, in your mind? Was there a time? Not everybody has that moment, but the first time you said yes to God, I was 8. Some of you, listen, we're a little, maybe. Yeah, I was 8. I looked like I was 5. But I remember, I remember kneeling at my parents' bed, come into my heart, Lord Jesus, there's room in my heart for you. I didn't know what I was saying. I receive your life. I will follow your way. I would, this 8, and it feels really good to say yes. As an 8-year-old kid, kneeling at your parents' bed, and they're really happy too, because now I'm not going to hell. Dodged that bullet, thought for sure. But that 8-year-old thing is incredible. It's really precious because your heart is open and you're tender and you're eager to obey. But I had, obviously, right, no idea what this all meant, where this would land or lead, what it would cost. I can't help but think of Matthew 5 when Jesus called his disciples and they sat up on that hill and he called them to himself and they all said yes. 13-year-old kids. I promise. I had no idea. I mean, saying yes it feels really good. I will follow you. And they had no idea what it would cost. Peter, did you know? Did you know? Did you have any idea where it would lead you? The good things that would come, the pain that would be part of it as well. So Mary, did you know that your yes to God would begin for you a journey that would one day, okay, we all romantic Christmases, like, yes, I say yes to Jesus. Did you know one day you would be standing at the foot of a cross?
Hmm.
And on that day, it would feel like you're watching the promise of God be destroyed. It's over. The lights have gone out. The promise isn't true. To watch the promise die. And I wonder if on that day, I don't know what Mary thought, but on that day, go now to the foot of the cross. There she is, watching her son die and the dream die. I wonder if on that day she remembered the promise that she heard in the book of Luke, that he will be great. His name will be great. Son of the Most High God, ruler of nations, a kingdom without end. And yes, in the story, the resurrection is coming. But if this was a movie, that's the next movie. That's the curtain goes down on, that would be the sequel. But the resurrection is coming and on that day, every doubt will be vanquished, every fear will be gone. All the promises you doubted on Good Friday will be, oh, they actually are true. But did you know when you said yes, that there would be days like this, that the lights do go out? Or did you think, like a lot of us, like it would just go right to whatever resurrection is, that it would just, you wouldn't have that day when you thought, this is all a bunch of baloney. This is just not true. And there is coming a resurrection, and the doubts will be vanished, and the truth will come out. But did you know when you said yes, there'd be days that you doubted that all the way down to your toes, where the promises of God do not seem real. And if you've ever had a day like that, now you're in the story. Now you are in, and that's what Advent does. That's what telling these stories do. And because I don't know Mary, I can't, first century Jewish girl, but all of those things, I know those things, and so do you. And now we're in the story. So that's why this first installment is the cost of Christmas. Did you know what it would cost? What I love this question. Did it cost more than you expected? Like Christmas. What did Christmas cost you this year? More than you expected? I know. Well, the point is, metaphorically, it does cost more than we expected. It always costs more. It always has, it always will. Because like us, I think Mary knew in a general way, and I hope without over explaining, you'll just kind of catch these connections. When she said yes to God, I think she knew, like when we say yes to a marriage, in a general way, we know, yeah, there's going to be things about this that are hard. I even love the pregnancy picture. I had a talk I did years ago called The Mary Miracle, when Mary said, be it done unto me, I receive the life of God. And when you receive it, it gets planted in you. And that's beautiful. But the problem is it grows. And it grows and it grows and it stretches you and it marks you and it scares you and scars you and it disrupts your life. And so I knew it would be hard, but I didn't know that. And I knew in my marriage there would be bumps, but I didn't know that. So she knew in a general way, like we all know, that there can be things that are tough along the way. We might expect that. But she also got this. All these positive promises in Luke chapter 2. Some of you may remember she was brought to the temple. Joseph and Mary went to the temple to bring Jesus to be, and they saw the prophet Simeon, and Simeon knew who the baby was. And then, my eyes have seen, and now I can die. And Simeon blesses Mary and Joseph, and it's a beautiful blessing. And I'm sure they're in tears. And it's so good. And then Simeon says the weirdest thing, because he says then, after he blesses them and the baby, he says, by the way, it's my paraphrase, this child will be the cause for the rise and fall of many. a sign to be opposed. And then he looks at Mary and says, and a sword will pierce even your own soul. Wait, what? Wait, what? Yeah, excuse me, is this part of the baptism? We didn't pay for this part.
Security?
Yes, security. Who's this guy? And a sword will pierce your soul. And I can't, you read these verses again, you just go, whoa. But that she's a real human being, and she hears this obscure thing, and you just got to go, boy, this put a damper on things as we go home. What did that mean? And the sword did pierce her heart, and maybe there's a number of ways, but I have 4 tangible ones that are really, I think, easy to spot and we can relate to. One happened quick, the slaughter of the innocents. Okay, when Herod found out there was a rival king, and he went to slaughter all the babies. And there's a whole other story that is amazing Advent story when Joseph and Mary went to Egypt, and there was all this spiritual warfare going on, and Joseph couldn't control that, but he could obey God and do these little things. But all of a sudden, babies, Herod is trying to kill. Did you know, Mary, did you know that the life of God in you would be resented by some? No, I just thought this, no, you accept Jesus. Did you know that some people would resent it and want to kill the life of God? Like snuff it out. Not Herod, maybe your parents or your family or your friends who don't like it, that you have changed what you care about. And there's another, like, what? Wait, what? No, I didn't know. I had no idea. When I said yes, this wasn't on the radar screen. So that's one. Another is Jesus in the temple. I love this story. In Luke chapter 2, verse 41, he's 12 years old. Remember that? They'd gone to the Passover. Man, I love this. If you read it, you can just kind of sit in it for a while and just go, they just slide over it, but it'd be apparent. I think it was like 4 days or 3 days that they hadn't seen him. They were in a large group. They traveled with their family and, uncles and aunts, and who, where's Davis? I don't know. He's just up on it. Don't worry about it. But they were gone. They were on their way home, I think, for a couple of days, and realized, where is he? And they're freaking out. They go back and they find him in the temple. And Jesus' response was just so heartwarming. 12-year-old kid. He's acting like, he actually says, what are you looking for? What do you want? Why are you looking for me? I am now about my Father's business. Stop right there. Really nice. Oh, he was Jesus. He knew. Be a mom. I am now about my Father's business. What are you asking me this for, Mom? He's 12.
Sounds like a preteen.
Somebody wanted smack, but he's Jesus. So Mary is so like, no, you can't. I can't even discipline him. He's the Son of God. I love how irreverent this becomes. But here's the thing about that, that I love, and we have to deal with it too. He's exerting his will. This is metaphorically a time where Jesus, who I said yes to, who I wanted to grow in me and come from me and change the world around me, but now he's exerting his will. He's not following her plan. She's following his plan. And in a very real way, no one would ever say this, but I liked him better when he was a baby. Even the God thing. Isn't there a movie, Talladega Nights? There's a scene where they're about to pray. I wish I could remember the thing, but they're praying, and this stupid guy, the only one I want to pray to, I just pray to baby Jesus. I like the baby Jesus.
The baby Jesus.
And it's hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
It's hysterical. I just like the baby Jesus. And I just think, I don't know if they meant it in a way that was designed to make us think or just be funny, because it was really funny. But I think it's exactly what people want. They want the baby Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I can control it. It doesn't control me. It never exerts its will on me. I like the baby Jesus. He's cute. That's what we like about the manger. Isn't that cute? Problem is with this story, when you say yes God, the baby grows.
Mm.
And here in the temple, this cuddly little baby is now calling me to more demanding, even some things. The relationship is changing. It would be interesting. I mean, stop the tape right now and go, if you're in a group, and wonder about when it dawned on you. Okay, because I think when we're kids, we read, the message we need to know about Jesus. He loves us,
Mm-hmm.
and we're kind of the only ones. He died for you and just for you, and that's true.
Yep.
But there's a time that comes as you grow and as the story of God in you unfolds, where you realize, wait. He's not here to serve me. And a lot of even our prayers are about when we get disappointed, and even prosperity theology crap. It's like they pray as if you're here to serve me and make sure I'm not. He's not here to serve me. I'm here to serve him.
Yeah. And
now you're in a different place. Now you're in a different place in the story. And I'm telling you, it can be, it's a deeper place, and it can, that's one of those, is there room in your heart for Jesus still? I mean, you kind of decide again or not. Okay, third place, where the sword pierces their heart is 19 years later. It's Luke chapter 8. The ministry of Jesus has just begun. And excuse me, he's busy, and there's all these people around him, and his family is worried about him. They think he's kind of crazy, and that's really true if you read the text. So they're going to see what he's doing and how he's doing, and the word comes to Jesus, who I think is inside this house teaching, and the word is, your mother and brother are outside, and they would really like to have a word with you. And Jesus says in her hearing, who is my brother, and no, who is my mother, and who are my brothers, but those who hear and do the word of God, who hear and do the will of God. And if you're Mary, who is my mother and who are my brothers, he's kind of separating herself from her. Sword pierces her heart, as she's at least got to try to figure this out. See, I understand. I'm Mary, and this is just me talking. I understand the call to obedience, to do the will of God. And here, I understand that. But our relationship used to be how much he loved me. That's all it was. And that was why I fell in love with him. And if you're Mary, that's how she would feel. I know exactly. Our relationship used to just be about, I love you so much, and I know you love. I'm sounding like I'm making fun of it. I'm not making fun of that. But there's a time, a season when everything he did for me. But it's changing now. And the message here to me is, to Mary and to me, is there's no cost reduction. There's no discipleship discount. If you're Mary, or if you're a pastor, or if you're whoever it is you think you are, and the cost keeps going up, and the cost keeps going up. So that's one of the, and the sword pierces hard. So every one of these almost developmental stages, for Mary, for us, the metaphor behind it is every time you're confronted with that, the cost goes up. Fourth one, last one, is at the cross, where the cost goes up again, where Mary, and this is where I think she may be at her most noble, but I don't think she says a word that's recorded. Because at the cross on this dark day, she's called to love and believe when the lights go out. And the lights are out. And when the dreams are dashed, when the hopes are shattered, when everything the angels said isn't true, not today. But here's the thing about Mary in that scene, she stays. Contrast it. When Peter promised to not deny, but did deny, and when the disciples all agreed with him that, yeah, we won't fall away either, and they all fell away, Mary made no promise. I will not deny. Mary didn't make a promise. I will never. She just didn't deny. She just didn't leave him and flee. She stayed at the cross. G. Campbell Morgan, I'm going to read a quote that I found today when I was looking through these notes. He speaks of this scene. Speaking of Mary, she was hopeless, disappointed, bereaved, and heartbroken. But the love that had been stirred in her heart could not be quenched, even by the dashing of her dreams. Though disappointed, it could not be overcome. Though over the sea of sorrow, there was no sighing wind that said, the dawn is coming, don't worry. Even though there was no sighing wind, she loved him still. Jesus was the magnet of her soul. And he held her to himself like the sun holds the planets in their orbit, even in his death, even when her dreams were dashed. Go back to the beginning, be it done unto me, even if it means the sword will pierce my soul. But now imagine with me the sequel movie, what must have exploded in Mary's heart the day the stone was rolled away. I don't think there are words anyone can have to describe that, but I would say joy inexpressible and full of glory, because right in the middle, and this is the whole point of this, of these journeys with God that at times feel like death, there's life. Dark, there is light. And this life is an eternal kind of life right here and right now. But this life, when we say yes to God, we can't manage it. We didn't make a deal, so I'll never have those dark days. Yeah, you will. And sometimes you'll have a dark day because you obeyed, because you said yes. It's a bad day because I probably did something wrong. Maybe you are having a bad day because you did something right. Said yes. So it's an eternal kind of life, but it can't be managed, can't be controlled. It can only be received. So come into my heart, Lord Jesus. There's room. I got to make some room because some things have crowded it out. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A lot easier when I was 8 because there was nothing else there.
Yeah.
There's room in my heart for you again. And then as soon as I say that, and we say, okay, be it done unto me. Just got to warn you. It will come, and it will grow, and it will stretch you and scare you and scar you. But life, his life, will come from you, like it did Mary. And that's Christmas. I like that better than the night before Christmas, all through the house.
Yeah, there's especially something about the season where that stuff does not, I mean, it never really does satiate, but it really is not satiating in 2020.
Nope.
None of that.
Nope.
And as unglamorous and unsexy and unwonderful as this message is, it is the only thing that sticks. I mean, we started doing these talks because we wanted to talk about what is still there when everything is gone, what remains when everything is gone, when the structures of our lives have fallen apart, which they have. So unless you haven't been paying attention, you know, there's not much left.
Yeah.
My favorite thing that you said that keeps sticking with me is Mary stayed.
Mm.
So she said yes, but she continued to stay. And I think right now, especially for me, I'm just exhausted.
Yeah.
And I can make a long list of all the things that I'm exhausted about, but I can stay.
Yeah.
I can stay. I can find a way to stay.
Yep. And you do. It's one of the things you do. Yeah, I'm not kidding. You are.
I'm learning.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a stayer.
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think among the things that it's weird doing these stories because it just reminds me of the story itself. And one of the powerful things that I hope is touching people who listen is that Mary is so kind of under the radar. I mean, in the Catholic Church, she's deified almost, which is a bit much. My background, we didn't talk about her at all.
No.
But there's this symbol that she is of this kind of faith that and life that she allowed to grow in her and come from her that literally changed the world. I mean, and I think I go back to that favorite parable of mine. There was a sower who goes out to sow, and then he goes to sleep. Meaning the sowing and the seed is just given what you have to give and doesn't look like much because it's just that stupid seed. And then it goes to sleep, and sleeping in scripture almost every time is a bad thing. Awaken, sleeper, rise from the dead. Don't be sleepy. But in this case, it's a healthy kind of forgetfulness. I just did my life. I love the people who God called me to love and gave the thing God gave me to give. And then you fall asleep. And but while you're sleeping, it sprouted and grew. And when he sees that or she sees that, I mean, Mary is going, how did I bet the people God uses like that have no idea. Even when it's happening, you're going, they don't see any connection to their piece in the Jesus story. That's another thing that could be explored about Mary, if we could talk to her. Mary, did you know how, like what a wow you are?
Right.
Like you're under the radar, staying. Change your role for us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, that's one of my, I mean, I could talk about that forever. That is, I think, my favorite thing about Mary. We call her, she's the blessed one. And I just think, no, she's the interrupted one. You think that's what she wanted?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. No, yeah, right.
Like that was not on her 5-year plan. She wanted to get married and whatever. I know 2020 was not on my 5-year plan or 10-year plan.
No, me neither.
But, well, this has been fun. Thanks everyone for jumping back in with us, and let us know what stirred in you or what part stuck out to you the most and what God's doing in you during this Advent season, whether you're choosing to pay attention to it for the whole month, or this is maybe the first time that you've ever thought about entering into this practice that the church has of revisiting the Christmas story. I know when Easter comes around, my kids say, well, they used to when they were little. Now they kind of get it. Jesus died again? Like, he's got to die every year, so he's being born again.
Okay, that's great.
All right,
and we may, and we're going to keep doing these.
We're back.
Probably catch up a bit. I don't know if people are following. I think hopefully we'll get another one in before a week is over. Like,
the
next couple of days, hopefully throw something else up there.
Yep. So
Okay.
look for it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.